Good Tuesday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window. And today, once again, a lot like yesterday, feeling more like summer as we take a look back at parts of Eniat from our Hose Landing Sky-Fi Tower camera, and a beautiful late spring day around north central Washington today. Just a few high wispy clouds out there, but for the most part blue sky and much warmer temperatures. Well, at least warmer compared to where we should be for this time of year anyway. About like yesterday, but still about 10 degrees above where we should be, and that trend will continue. We will see possibly record-setting temperatures tomorrow. That area in orange right there, that is if you have any kind of risk, a moderate risk to a sun and heat, you might want to stay inside tomorrow. Make sure if you are outside tomorrow and once again on Thursday, you drink plenty of fluids, and boy, find that shade. And that's a large swath of north central Washington in that orange area from Kennewick to Spokane and then back to Wenatchee, where we could see highs between 95 and 100 degrees. And we will have more on this heat wave coming up a little bit later on in your weather forecast. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. An Ephrata man was booked into Grant County Jail last night on suspicion of vehicular assault and felony hit and run. A Rondo Fire and Chelan Fire responded with Mansfield Fire Department to a structure fire up McNeil Canyon, with the reporting party hearing explosions and seeing smoke. And about 300 acres of grassland and sagebrush burned. A storage building was destroyed Monday in a fire about 10 miles southeast of Soap Lake. But first, we begin tonight. A man suspected of stabbing his mother to death was arrested yesterday afternoon in Malott after a confrontation with deputies in the Okanagan River. 34-year-old Jose Mejia reportedly tried to take a deputy's gun during that river struggle. His 64-year-old mother, Juana Faria de Mejia, died at that scene. Okanagan County Sheriff Tony Hawley said the first report of the stabbing came at 2:44 p.m. in the area of Old Highway 97 and Central Street. Deputies and an ambulance responded, but by the time they arrived, the suspect had fled on foot. Witnesses pointed deputies to the area where Mejia had fled, and he was quickly found in the river where a struggle ensued. Mejia had to be taken to the hospital for treatment of a hand injury before being jailed. An Ephrata man was booked into Grant County Jail last night on suspicion of vehicular assault and felony hit and run. The State Patrol reports that 35-year-old Jose A. Rodriguez was driving an SUV westbound on State Route 282 about 10:45 last night near the Ephrata Airport when his vehicle struck 45-year-old Sean M. McMorrin of Moses Lake, who was walking his dirt bike across the highway. Rodriguez then apparently fled the scene before he was located and arrested. McMorrin was transported to Samaritan Hospital before being airlifted to Harborview Medical Center. His condition is unknown. The State Patrol reports that drugs or alcohol was a factor in that accident. Just before 5 p.m. on Monday, a Rondo Fire and Chelan Fire responded mutual aid with Mansfield Fire Department to the report of a structure fire up McNeil Canyon, with the reporting party hearing explosions and seeing smoke. On arrival, a large fire consisting of 2 vehicles, building materials, and personal property that had spread into a grass fire moving up a hillside was found. The 3 departments engaged the fire by first containing the spread of the grass fire, then protecting 2 mobile homes and undamaged vehicles and extinguishing the remainder of that fire. 1 person was treated at the scene. The fire is believed to have started due to a malfunctioning vehicle that spread to vegetation and then through that location. About 300 acres of grassland and sagebrush burned a storage building, and it was destroyed Monday in a fire about 10 miles southeast of Soap Lake. Grant County Fire District Chief Kirk Shepard said the fire was ignited by sparks from a grinder being used on galvanized pipe. The fire started about 11:30 a.m. at Eastside Drive and Road D.7. Crews from 4 different departments had the fire under control by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Shepard said the storage building belonged to the man who'd been using that grinder. Coming up next, the number of homeless people in Chelan and Douglas counties is down compared to last year. State Regional Labor Economist Don Messick said the labor force in Chelan and Douglas counties rose dramatically in the time period between 2007 to 2017. And Chelan County Commissioners say they're getting closer to setting new rules for vacation rentals. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
With 15,000 square feet to explore, you'll find something special at the Antique Mall at Cashmere. For the do-it-yourselfers and those with a keen eye for making something old, fresh and new again, the Antique Mall at Cashmere is the place to come find your next project. From the coin enthusiasts to avid collectors, Antique Mall at Cashmere has treasures in every corner. Come find your treasure today. Antique Mall at Cashmere's friendly staff is here to help. Stop on by today.
Only one dealership in Wenatchee has Motor Trend's SUV of the Year and Truck of the Year. That's right, Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram has the all-new Jeep Wrangler and the all-new Ram 1500 pickup. Or get the best of both worlds in the new Jeep Gladiator. Visit Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram today for more information on these award winners and see why there's no reason to leave town to buy your next vehicle.
I found a doctor that I just really like, and his name is Nick Collins. I just like everything about him. He's very thorough, but he's not intrusive at all, so he goes ahead and checks out things that somebody else might just let it go. Just about everything about him.
Welcome back. In another news, the number of homeless people in Chelan and Douglas counties is down compared to last year. The Wenatchee World reports that this year's point-in-time count showed 412 homeless in the two-county area. That's down 15% compared to last year. The count was performed by teams of volunteers across the state in January. However, while the number of local sheltered and unsheltered homeless both went down, the number of people experiencing chronic long-term homelessness went up to 36 compared to 21 in 2018. The count also showed a decrease in statewide homeless population. It's 21,621 this year compared to 22,304 people last year. In a recent report to a Wenatchee Valley College Advisory Committee, State Regional Labor Economist Don Messick said the labor force in Chelan and Douglas counties rose dramatically in the time period 2007 to 2017. Total covered employment in Chelan County over the 10-year period rose just over 11% at 4,473 new workers. Between 2016 and 2017, there were 650 more workers. That's a 1.5% upturn. Meanwhile, in Douglas County, those numbers are even higher. Between 2007 and 2017, total covered employment rose from 10,645 jobs to 12,653. That's an 18.9% upturn. Chelan County Commissioners say they're getting closer to setting new rules for vacation rentals. According to Doug England, the number of homes being listed on websites such as VRBO and Airbnb is exploding in the Chelan and Leavenworth areas.
We're told now that there are around 2,100 vacation rentals, most of them seasonal, but there are vacation rentals that are advertising within Chelan County. Most of those are concentrated in the Leavenworth area and the Chelan area, but increasingly there are a number of them in the Malaga area and in District 1. And so it's a county-wide concern, and we'll kind of address what we need to do to most of the problem occurs with noise, with congestion, with some of those issues that bring the neighbors to the front and complain about exactly what their neighborhood is turning into.
Commissioner Overbay says the Malaga area is also becoming a popular vacation rental location.
Or not, Malaga actually is starting to draw a lot of folks out to that area. A lot of folks are utilizing their residences as vacation rental pieces, and they're starting to grow every year. We get more and more, and so I think it's the proximity to Mission Ridge, especially during the winter months, and the winter recreation piece is really what draws it, and then it's just a nice place out there.
England says work will continue with a set of rules expected to be put up for Planning Commission review later this fall.
We're discussing and will continue this next week with a discussion on one, is there a need for regulations in the county? Two, if there is a need, then what those regulations will look like. And then we're also considering whether we will try to keep the kind of the coordination and the organization of the enforcement, if we do decide to do those in-house, or whether we will use a contractor to at least organize and get us information.
The new rules are being drafted in response to conflicts between vacation home renters and full-time residents over issues such as noise and parking. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's feature story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Stay with us.
The best pizza in the known universe is right here in downtown Chelan, so come on up. For the best locally crafted beer and barbecue in Chelan, come on up.
For the best down-home scratch country cooking in north central Washington, you'll find it in Manson. Come on up.
Come on up. Come on up.
Come on up.
At some point, we realized that value and practicality go hand in hand. A time when an unnoticed accumulation of items has become burdensome. These possessions still have value, but now lack usefulness. Donate your unwanted items to Goodwill and become a job creator. Your donations allow Goodwill to provide much-needed training to job seekers in our community, and that's pretty useful for everyone. Be a job creator. Donate. Goodwill. There's more behind the store.
There's no substitute for the power of cable TV advertising. With Solion Cable TV Advertising, you can reach your target audience right here in North Central Washington. We understand their viewing habits and can precisely target your customers on great cable networks like these. Call Solion Broadcasting today and let us show you how to put your business message right in front of thousands of prospects at a very affordable price. Solion Broadcasting, 509-888-2020.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. Facing a moderate to severe tussock moth outbreak this summer, local USDA Forest Service staff are planning to treat high-use recreation areas in the Methow Valley, Lake Wenatchee, and Blewett Pass areas with a natural biocontrol to minimize public safety issues and sustain public access. In tonight's feature story, here's a look at the tussock moth and how it spreads.
My name is Connie Mamel. I'm an entomologist with the Forest Service on the Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest. And we're here near Blewett Pass because I want to talk to you about Douglas fir tussock moths. So you might wonder, what is a Douglas fir tussock moth? So if you'll come in a little closer, I'll show you what the insect looks like right now. This being early May, what I have here is an egg mass. So this is about 150 potential little tussock moths. Tiny eggs in this egg mass. In about 3 weeks, this will hatch, and little thread-like caterpillars will climb up the trees, spin silken threads, throw themselves to the wind, and start dispersing through the forest. So what? Well, these insects will grow larger and larger all summer. They'll get to be about 1.5 inches long, and they really can strip the needles off of Douglas fir from top to bottom. Douglas firs, grand firs, and sometimes spruces, and they really can kill a lot of trees. And the other thing that they do is they have very irritating hairs. So when people are around them, this really becomes a public safety issue in things like campgrounds or high-use areas. And for this reason, we're concerned about this potential outbreak of Douglas fir tussock moths, one that happens about every 10 years in our area. Last year, one of our colleagues at the DNR, one of our DNR entomologists, called me up and said, hey, you've got some spot outbreaks of Douglas fir tussock moth. And so we went out and started looking at some of these areas, and we found heavy populations on both sides of Blewett Pass, around Fish Lake, where there's a lot of recreation, and also in the Methow Valley near the Early Winters Campground. So we're looking at potentially doing some direct control, spraying parts of this outbreak, about 7,400 acres on the entire forest. We have a great insecticide to use for Douglas fir tussock moth. It's isolated from the insect itself, and it's a virus, a naturally occurring virus specific to this insect. It's in powdered form right now. Mixed with molasses and water, it can be sprayed from a helicopter, and it causes the outbreak to collapse prematurely. And once that happens, we're not likely to see another one for another 10 years. So that's what we're looking at for public safety, to prevent tree mortality, to safeguard our campgrounds, and also to prevent more fuel from forming on these high-use areas in the forest.
Time now for a check of your North Central Washington weather forecast. And before we get to the details of all of that, and it's a hot forecast, let's take a look outside our weather window. And a beautiful shot of Eniat from our Hose Landing Sky-Fi Tower camera location. Great day to be on the river today with temperatures a lot like yesterday, mid-80s, even some upper 80s around parts of North Central Washington. Lots of blue sky out there with just some high clouds in some locations and not much wind. That was a nice change. Boy, that wind came up last night, but a beautiful day today. As far as temperatures go, we are well above where we should be for this time of year. Unofficially 87 degrees at Pangbourne Airport. 77 is where we should be for this time of year, so well above. Also well above normal for our low temperature overnight. 61 as we got going this morning. 54 is where we should be. 93, that's our record high temperature set back in 1986. Record low 40 degrees in 1990. Still holding steady at 3.78 inches of moisture for the year, and don't expect that to go up anytime soon. Sunrise this morning was at 5:04, sunset tonight just before 9 o'clock at 8:57. Now let's put that surface loop in motion and show you what we can expect heading into the upcoming weekend. Tonight, it should be a beautiful night. Mostly clear out there, light winds and mild. We are going to stay with our temperature map throughout our 6-day forecast today just because things are going to get so warm and possibly record-setting here in North Central Washington. Tomorrow could be our first record day. We'll see mostly sunny skies. This area of high pressure will move inland just a little bit, and you can see the orange and red colors all across the western United States. That indicates 85 to 95, even 100-mile-an-hour wind or temperatures. But winds on Thursday will be a situation we're going to keep our eye on. 15 to 20 miles an hour with gusts possibly around 30. And here's our fire weather concern area. The area is in pink and purple, and that does include us in Wenatchee, up in the Winthrop area and parts around Ellensburg into Yakima. We could see some very strong winds, and that could get some grass and sagebrush fires going. We will keep our eye on that. Friday, sunny, a little bit cooler for Friday. Not much, though, with temperatures in the upper 80s. And as we move into the upcoming weekend, it should be beautiful with high pressure still offshore. Sunshine, unseasonably warm, although you notice some more gold colors moving into Washington State. That's spreading a little bit cooler temperatures. Our high pressure area is beginning to flatten out a little bit. Still hot on Sunday, but not as hot as we'll see over the next couple days, with temperatures once again upper 80s to near 90 degrees. So get the suntan lotion out and head out to the pools. Here's your quick lube and tune forecast. 89 our high temperature as we move into today. I don't think we're going to make 89. Maybe we'll have to wait and see. 94 tomorrow. 67 degrees our overnight low. That may break a warm overnight low record. 92 for our high on Thursday. Friday, sunny and warm, as well as Saturday. In fact, we'll warm up just a hair on Saturday and Sunday to 90 degrees. Sunday and Monday look beautiful, with Monday sunny and hot. High temperature then at 91. And that's a look at your local forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
Hi everyone, this is Brent Crowder. After 13 years with the Town Auto Group, I have returned home to Town Toyota, where it all started. If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, let me help you find the right one at the right price. Toyota is reliable and trustworthy, and you can count on me to be the same. When it comes to buying your next car, you can't go wrong with Toyota and Crowder. Ask for Brent at Town Toyota or call me now at 888-5000.
What is the address of your emergency?
There's a little girl fell in the lake in Block Island.
And how old is she?
I don't know. It's just a little girl with her brother.
And they're saying that they can't get to her?
Yeah.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Tuesday to you. Alex Morgan scored five goals as the U.S. embarrassed Thailand today, 13-0 at the Women's World Cup in France. U.S. also outshot the Thai 40-2 in Group F play today. The win earned the United States team 3 points in pool play. Next face Chile on Sunday. By the way, if you're wondering, 5 goals in a game is called a glut. 2 is a brace, 3 is a hat trick, 4 is a haul, 5 being a glut, and 6 a double hat trick. 7, by the way, is a haul trick. There you go. Little lesson for the day today. After a much-needed day off yesterday, the Wenatchee Apple Sox get back to West Coast League play tonight when it hosts the Portland Lefties, or make that the Port Angeles Lefties. Get the town right. Wenatchee's trying to snap a 5-game losing streak tonight when they meet with the Lefties after winning its opener in league play last week against Victoria. Apple Sox lost the series to the Harbor Cats, then were swept in Yakima Valley over the weekend. Starting for Wenatchee tonight will be 6'6" sophomore from Pomona Pitzer College, Ryan Long. Long pitched 6 innings in his debut last week in a 7-4 win over Victoria, allowing 1 earned run on 2 hits with 7 strikeouts. Lefties come to town with a 4-2 mark after taking 2 of 3 from Bellingham in Port Angeles over the weekend. Their scheduled starter Frank Scalzo just pitched a couple of days ago on Sunday in the win over the Bells. First pitch tonight at 6:35 at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. Of course, you can hear all of Wenatchee's games with our friend Joel Norman on Sunny FM. Hey, speaking of the Apple Sox, Wenatchee Apple Sox baseball is on the NCWLIFE channel. Join us live for play-by-play coverage of the Apple Sox Saturday as they host the Walla Walla Sweets from Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. Pre-game takes the air at 6:15 with the first pitch at 6:35. It's the Sweets and Apple Sox as we celebrate summer 1 inning at a time, live on your local TV station, NCWLIFE channel. That is right. We are busily preparing for our first ever Apple Sox game broadcast here on the NCWLIFE channel. In fact, I was busy over the weekend putting together and testing our new platform. That's going to be out beyond the center field wall for a couple of cameras. Also, we had to build a platform that'll go on top of the third base dugout for myself and a camera operator to stand upon during the games. In all, we'll broadcast 4 Apple Sox games this summer here on the NCW Life channel. Of course, the first of which coming up this Saturday as Wenatchee hosts Walla Walla. We'll broadcast 2 games in July, on the 13th against Bellingham and the 27th against Portland. Then we'll bring you the Yakima Valley Pippins at Wenatchee on Saturday, August 7th. Our pregame show started about 6:15, first pitch at 6:35. Well, there are only a couple of games on the slate tonight other than the one with Wenatchee and Port Angeles as we take a look at the West Coast League schedule. Bellingham hosting Cal at 6:35. Ridgefield travels to Portland to take on the Pickles at 7:05. Well, the Mariners begin a 3-game series in Minnesota today against the Twins. Seattle coming off its first series win since mid-May last weekend, taking 2 of 3 from the Angels. However, it's been a rough season for the M's, with dreaded defense, young, inexperienced players, and pitching problems that have propelled Seattle to a 28-41 record, dead last in the American League West. Minnesota, meanwhile, is having a great season. Twins lead the American League Central with a 43-21 record, third best in all of baseball behind the Dodgers and Astros. Minnesota is also right behind Seattle in team home runs with 125. Mariners lead all of baseball with 126 home runs, yet the only team in the top 5 of that category that don't lead their division. Seattle will throw Mike Leake today against Minnesota, who's coming off a complete game 14-1 win over Houston. Twins will counter with Martin Perez, who's 7-2 with a 3.72 ERA first pitch. Well, actually, the game is underway. While the Mariners were off yesterday, 3 other American League West teams were in action as we check the Les Schwab scoreboard. Elvis Andrus' RBI single in the top of the 11th gave Texas a 4-3 win at Boston. Charlie Morton pitched 7 shutout innings, and Brandon Lowe hit a 2-run home run as Tampa Bay stopped Oakland 6-2. And in the Battle of Los Angeles, Mike Trout hit a game-tying 2-run home run in the 7th, and Shohei Ohtani scored the go-ahead run in the 8th as the Angels beat the Dodgers 5-3. Heading into today, Houston's lead in the West is 9 games over Texas. Mariners, as we mentioned, last place, 18 games out. And the Seahawks start their minicamp today at the VBAC in Renton. After 2 sets of OTAs the past 5 months, this 3-day minicamp serves as the finale before training camp starts in late July. We're just 58 days away from Seattle's first preseason game at Century League Field against Denver, and then 89 days until the season opener against the Cincinnati Bengals. That's sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Grant, back to you.
And thank you, Eric. Recapping tonight's top story, a man suspected of stabbing his mother to death was arrested Monday afternoon in Malott after a confrontation with deputies in the Okanagan River. 34-year-old Jose Mejia reportedly tried to take a deputy's gun during the river struggle. His 64-year-old mother, Juana Faria de Mejia, died at the scene. Okanagan County Sheriff Tony Hawley said the first report of the stabbing came at 2:44 p.m. in the area of Old Highway 97 and Central Street. Deputies and an ambulance responded, but by the time they arrived, the suspect had fled on foot. Witnesses pointed deputies to the area where Mejia had fled, and he was quickly found in the water where a river struggle ensued. Mejia had to be taken to the hospital for treatment of a hand injury before being jailed. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. Also, keep it right here on the NCW Life channel tomorrow morning for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley with your host, Dan Kuntz. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.
NCW Life channel is your home for local news, local weather, and events including live local high school sports. Watch inspiring local shows featuring local people. Don't miss Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Let's learn. Guada TV. Street Talk and Other Stuff. The 12th District. Life with Lisa. And the Arbiter of Stoke. NCW Life channel is your local TV station.
Hey there, Wenatchee. Archie. I'm Sean Lee, and I'm inviting you to check out the NCW Movie Guide to keep up on what movies are playing in our town.
Do you have a fun or interesting video you'd like to see featured here on the NCW Life channel? It's easy. All you have to do is send us an email at newsphotos@ncwlife.com.